When a single mom and her two kids arrive in a small town, they begin to discover the connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Burns Views. My name is John, and today I am very excited to talk to you about the brand new Ghostbuster movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is a very personal Ghostbuster story, and I am pleasantly surprised how well it actually was. Obviously, we had the one that came out in 2016 with them, and we don't talk about that movie. So, going into pros, I believe that this is the best possible outcome we could have hoped for with this film. You could tell that they really cared. Jason Reitman, him, and everybody else involved really cared about the source material when they brought this to the table, and you can feel it. There's a lot of sentiment to it. It was giving me vibes of like early day Spielberg. I felt like I was watching something like E.T. or Close Encounter, and yeah, I missed those kind of family films. It was just well done. And I mean, you can have all the proton packs you want, but if you don't care about the characters, and if you don't have a compelling family drama at the center of it, you're not going to care. And I feel like they did that really well. Speaking of the cast, the one who really stole the show for me was Mckenna Grace, who plays Phoebe, who's kind of like a science nerd. She's 12 years old. She's the granddaughter of Egon, and her mom, her brother, they moved to this house that Egon has left to them, and they have to basically adapt to living in this small town while also finding a couple of secrets hidden in the basement, and all of that is great. She's got a best friend named Logan, his name is Podcast, but it's played by Logan Kim, and their storyline is pretty solid. I loved watching the two of them bounce off each other. They were both very young, and typically when you watch a movie with young actors, they're pretty bad. It's hard to find good actors. Millie Bobby Brown is kind of like the exception. Drew Barrymore was another one. But for the most part, they're like a diamond in the rough. They're hard to find. We also have Carrie Coon, who plays the mom, and Paul Rudd, who plays a science teacher, and they kind of have a slight thing maybe going on. And yeah, they're like Hopper and Joyce from Stranger Things a little bit. But again, all these side characters, the teenagers and the grown-ups, are very much outshadowed by Mckenna Grace and Logan Kim, in my opinion. And Jason Reitman does a great job of blending nostalgia, action, and comedy. And that's a very difficult thing to do. You can get lost when you do these reboots, these rehashes, because if you lean too heavy into the throwbacks and the Easter eggs, and there are a lot, it's not going to work. It's going to feel cheap. But if you go too original and too drastically different from the originals, people are going to hate that too. So it's very much a tightrope that I think Reitman gets right pretty damn well. The score is also fantastic. It actually reminded me a little bit of Back to the Future Part 2 and 3. Whenever they had like those nostalgic moments where they find like the proton packs, like the Ghost Trap or the Ecto-1, whenever they have those moments, I feel like I was listening to Marty when he's looking at the DeLorean and stuff like that. It really blends together well, and you could tell that they had a lot of love and care for this movie, and it didn't feel like a cash grab, which it could have. The visual effects are also top-notch. I was lucky enough to see it in IMAX. They've definitely upgraded a lot of the visuals, the CGI. It didn't look sloppy. The proton packs, the streams going across the sky, all looked pretty damn cool. We had a couple of, I don't want to call it jump scares, but a couple of scenes where the ghosts just really come at the screen, and you're like, whoa! And they zip by, and I'm like, that was well done. Usually I watch an action set piece and I'm like, meh. Maybe it was the IMAX, maybe it was the way it was framed, but the visual effects I think were pretty top-notch considering. And you do get all those Easter eggs, which I think for some people they're not going to love it because, you know, if you're not a giant fan of the original film, you're going to be kind of like, what is this? What are we referring to? But yeah, you got the mini Marshmallow Man, you got the proton packs, you got the PKE meter, you got the Ghost Trap, you got the Ecto-1. And you got all that sweet and savory music playing in the background, and you're like, yes, I've died and gone to Ghostbuster heaven. And that is not going to be for everybody, because not everybody wants to go to Ghostbuster heaven. But if you do, I think you're going to like it a lot. Now, going into negatives, this movie does not function as a standalone film. It just doesn't. If you have not seen the original, and I don't even want to say the sequels, because the sequels are not really involved. I don't think you need to see part 2. But if you haven't seen part 1, and you don't like part 1, and let's just say that you drag your girlfriend to go see it, and she's never seen it, or she doesn't like the original, she ain't gonna have a good time. Same with like grandma or something like that. Which is kind of like to say, well, if you're not a fan of the original, what are you doing here? But I think there are going to be those people that go and see it and they don't have a lot of fond memories of the original, so they're going to be kind of bored and kind of left out of the loop on some stuff on the new one because they're like, I don't remember proton packs. Which, that's on you. And like I said, Finn Wolfhand and Celeste O'Connor, they don't really have a lot to do, and they feel like they're phoning it in a little bit, but that could just be an error with the script. Mckenna Grace and Logan Kim really do steal the show, and there is a small slump in the middle of the film. I want to say somewhere between the final act and after the scene where they're driving around in the Ecto-1, there's like this weird slowdown stage of the movie for like 20 minutes where it's like, all right, this could have been cut down a little bit, or maybe they could have replaced it with something more engaging. It is a 2-hour and 4-minute film, so maybe it could have been 90 minutes, but I'm kind of nitpicking. I really enjoyed it, but then again, I really enjoyed the original. I thought the 2016 one was an atrocity that should have never been made. And then my final nitpick would be the villains, which are not original at all. They really do go back to the well on that one. I don't want to say more than that, but yeah, when you see it, you'll be like, oh, I know that all too well, and you couldn't think up anything more original? And I didn't get any nostalgia from seeing some of these type villains again, so I was like, but considering I liked all the characters, all of our heroes, it's whatever. The same way you don't care about the monsters in Stranger Things, it's kind of like neither here nor there. So, at the end of the day, while it may not be for everybody, especially people who are not fans of the original, I think it has a great blend of nostalgia, action, and comedy. There are a lot of member berries, but instead of punching you in the face with them, it's kind of like if you took member berries and turned them into wine, and you just let it ferment for many years, and then you just poured yourself a nice glass of 1986 Ghostbusters. You'd be like, chef's kiss. That's kind of how I feel about the member berries. I think it was handled with care. I think it was enjoyable, and that's why I'm going to give this movie an A-. No, I can't. Okay, I'm going to give it a B++. I can't quite put it into the A bracket. I want to. More of a personal choice than an objective choice. But I'm going to give it a B++. On the scorecard, I'm going to give it an 8.6 out of 10. And as far as a recommendation, I say definitely go see it in IMAX. I probably won't buy it on Blu-ray. Maybe I'll see it in IMAX again. I really enjoyed the surround sound. The visuals are fantastic. If you have young ones, like 10-year-olds, will definitely love it. But at the same time, much like, say, like Shrek, in no way is it a kiddie film. I think everybody, whole family will enjoy this movie. Highly recommend it. Go check it out. And there are 2 post-credit scenes. There's a pre-credit scene, which is kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's kind of like a callback. And then in the very, very end, there is a very cool scene that I highly recommend that you stick around to go see, because it is potentially something that, it could be a thread that they keep pulling on in the future, and it made me smile, so definitely check it out. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like early movie reviews just like this, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe so we know. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I have been John, you just got burned, and we will see you next time.